Hey, and welcome to the Community Living Golf event. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. Let that play on through a few times, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while I've got you here in your setup, let's first of all just take a look at your posture. We can see here that your spine is straight and on a slight tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down nice and naturally in front of you. Club works out to the ball, so you're achieving some really nice posture here in your address position. Also in association with some very good balance. Next thing we want to observe has to do with your alignment. We can see your feet aiming a little bit out to the right here. Now parallel lines on camera will have the appearance of converging, and theoretically your club face is supposed to be running parallel to your feet. So we're definitely set up down the right edge of the fairway where it's meeting the right rough. Obviously we're going to have to see some form of compensation in your golf swing that's going to try and get the ball back towards the center of the fairway. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chella Choi. Just populate her up on the left side of the screen. We can see here that we have some color-coded lines on the screen. They're just here as a visual reference point as it deals with or pertains to swing playing. Now as Chella initiates her takeaway, she's simply going to draw the golf club back by creating good shoulder rotation, drawing the arms and hands back as well as the club, and the club's going to come back directly along this red line, so the club's coming back on a proper swing plane. As she continues to turn, we now need to incorporate some decent wrist hinge into play, whereby it allows the club head to transition from being below our hands to now being above our hands. As she continues with the backswing here and her turn, we're going to work the club from red up to yellow, and when we finally set the golf club at the top of the backswing, the left arm of the club are going to be situated on the yellow line, full shoulder rotation, and we're going to do that about a very stable right leg, keeping the weight on the instep of the right foot. With your backswing here, as we draw the golf club back, your hands work nicely, turning your shoulders. We do have a tendency here that we can see of moving the golf club a little bit underneath the swing plane, and the other thing we see as well is that you have a tendency of shutting the club face. Now you're shutting the club face probably via a strong grip, meaning that your left hand's either rotated a little too far over top of the club or your right hand's rotated a little too far underneath the club. As we continue to move back here, we see your right elbow fold very quickly into your core, and that causes the club to lay off as well, and therefore we're not initiating the early stage of our backswing with much extension in the arms. Okay, so one of the things we definitely learn to create for you when we're drawing the club back is learn how to create better extension with your rotation, and also learn how to create better wrist hinge so the club can stay on a better plane and not go so far inside to begin with. As we continue to go to the top of the backswing here, rotating your shoulders, bringing your arms back. We don't fully complete the rotation in the shoulders, and we can see that the golf swing gets a little bit abbreviated there, but nonetheless you have a little bit of turn, pretty stable right side, your arms are still in pretty good geometric relationship relative to your core, and the club's in good position relative to your arms. Ideally at the top, we'd probably like to see in a position where, you know, we acquire more spinal tilt, more rotation, better arm extension, and a little bit more club travel through creating a little bit more wrist hinge. As we go ahead and initiate our takeaway, we simply want to, from the top, drive our weight from our right foot to our left, fire our knees and our hips to the target, unwind the core and fire the hands, and in doing so we need to make sure that we're bringing the golf club from yellow back down on top of red, and that's exactly what we see here with Chella Choi. The golf club has returned back to being on plane. The other thing we want to point out is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. Refer to this as the backwards check mark. Simply means we're retaining angle coming into the hitting zone, whereby the club head right now is still above and behind the hands. At this point in time, as we watch your transition back into the golf ball here, you drop your hands and arms quite nicely, and you're pushing the hands out a little bit out in front of you now, but you're keeping that club head above and behind, so that looks pretty good right there. So if we take a look at your lead forearm and your club, we can basically look at this position and say, hey, you know what, you've got that backwards check mark, creating power in your golf swing, shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then the other thing we see is we see that the club has returned back very closely to the plane. So you're coming into the ball initially here quite well. If we just continue to track the club heads coming into the ball, for Chella Choi, we can see her club head just sneaks ever so slightly underneath the red line, and therefore she's attacking the ball just a little bit too far from the inside. Ideally, this club head should be camouflaged by the red line if it's coming into the golf ball perfectly. So she's slightly underneath. Therefore, the error that could occur here is she could hit the ball just a little bit right of where she's aimed. So her feet are going in this direction. Parallel lines on camera have the appearance of converging here. She's set up to hit the golf ball at that red flag. Because she's attacking it a little bit from underneath, she obviously could have the ability to sort of block the ball a little bit right. But if that club face squares up, she'll still hit a relatively straight golf shot in accordance to her alignment because her grip is good and squaring the face up. And we can see the ball heading pretty much right down her target line, just slightly right of it. With you, as we track your club head coming into the golf ball here, want to go to the next frame. We can see we stay just a little bit on top of the plane, and that's due to the fact that your hands, as you initiated your takeaway, came a little over the top to initiate that downswing, and we're just sending that club just ever so slightly out in front, and that's going to cause you to attack the ball a little bit from outside to inside. So if we just connect the dots, we can get a good sense of your descending plane with that club head, and we can see that it's just coming into the ball a little bit more steep than what Chella Choi is doing. Therefore, if we go ahead and understand how does the downswing plane influence the path of the club, we can see here with Chella Choi, her club is slightly inside the ball. It expands out to make contact, then moves nicely through on a nice natural subtle arc. With yours, your club is stuck outside the ball, dropping down and across, so you can see the path at which that is moving on. So very simply put, if we square the club face up to that path, we would hit the ball back in that direction. Now, if you recall, let's go back to your address position. I had originally stated to you that your alignment, your feet are aimed where? Yeah, a little bit out to the right. Theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel to the feet. Parallel lines on camera will have the appearance of converging, so you're set up down the right edge of the fairway. We know, as discussed, that center of the fairway is back over here. And I had mentioned that we're going to create some form of a compensation in your swing, and clearly that compensation is to swing the club a little bit from outside to inside, and that helps you pull the ball down yellow towards blue. Only issues here if the club face over releases, the ball gets pulled, but then it has right to left spin, and you're going to hit some form of a bit of a pull draw or pull hook. If the club under releases, we still start the ball left, maybe not as far left, but then we have left to right spin, and now we hit a bit of a pull slice. If the timing's okay, then we pull the ball right down yellow, stays towards blue, might still sort of fade just a little bit, but the pull straight shot or the pull fade isn't going to hurt you at all. But that is the compensation for sure. We're swinging that golf club a little bit from that outside to inside, and the other thing we had mentioned that your club face coming back was closed either due to your grip, and that's also going to shut the face down. So we can see the ball headed right down that yellow arrow towards the blue flag, so we can clearly see that that yellow path is pulling the ball back online. Club face is closed, so depending on how much that club face released will determine exactly what that ball does when it gets in the air. The only issue with this move too, as you close that club face, you're de-lofting the club, and we're not getting much trajectory on our golf shot. We want to definitely get that launch angle up so that ball can fly a lot further. So again, if you over-release the club, very simply put, it's going to follow the yellow arrow and then continue to follow these yellow dots. And if we under-release the club, it'll follow yellow and then follow the red dots. And if we time it okay, it'll be a pull straight shot right down yellow towards blue, and then might even just fade just ever so slightly, but nothing that's going to hurt you at all. As we carry the golf swing through to the finish, we can see Chella Choi's right heel off the ground at point of impact. And we're just going to watch the continued activity of that right foot through to the finish, where her right heel comes fully off the ground, up on the toe of the right foot. This allows her to displace her weight on her left side. So at this point in time, we can see all the spikes in her shoe, all her weight's on her left side. She's posted up on her left leg, hips are square to the target. She's maintained her spinal tilt, hands are high, clubs back and behind her. As you come through, your right heel's doing a good job. You're coming up onto that toe. It's allowing you to finish, but we can see that we finish in a really congested position whereby your hands are across your body and your arms are very close to your body as well. So a little recap here. If we just take a look at the swing again. Setup's really good. Would definitely look at your grip. Definitely have to improve the alignment so that we don't have to subconsciously try and pull that ball back to left. You can see here you're even working hard to get it to go left. So if you don't aim out to the right, you won't have to create that motion where you're aggressively trying to hit it left. So fix the alignment up. Take a look at your grip to make sure your grip's not strong, because obviously the club is getting closed and de-lofted. Tough to create any launch angle or trajectory. Overall athletic ability is good here. The hands come back, they fire through. Your turn's decent coming back. You could increase that rotation a little bit, and then your finish is nice. You create some okay footwork there with your right foot that allows you to get through to the finish, but definitely would like to learn how to swing and get your hands and arms higher into your finishing position. And you could do that when your alignment is better and you're not trying to hit the ball back to the left. And that's why your hands and arms are finishing across your body so much, because you're working so hard to make sure you don't lose that ball out towards where you're aimed. Anyways, if at any point in time you'd like to work on your golf game, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments or sit in the committee for any event and you're looking for a unique gift to give to the participants, certainly feel free to touch base with me. All my contact information is at the end of the video here, and be happy to discuss that with you. Anyways, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video, and hope you have a great summer.